What a sincere pleasure to be chatting with you, Jim. And
Same.
I have to tell you, so the time of this recording, it is December 22nd, which is the day after the winter solstice and the Great Conjunction. And yesterday, I don't know, do you follow Lee Harris? Do you know Lee Harris, his work?
Astrologer?
He's a channeler.
No, but I will now.
He's so terrific. He's so terrific. But yesterday he did a live recording, which was really wonderful. But he posed 3 questions. And the first was, what are you grateful for this year? And I pondered it and I wrote in my journal about it. And I will tell you, one of the greatest gifts that I have received this year was my new internet friends. And you're one of them.
Oh.
I'm so happy that through the magic of the Tarot Lady and talking about you and seeing that beautiful, supportive online community and like so many wonderful new connections and friendships and insights. And I had a reading with you, which was phenomenal. And I'm so grateful. So thank you for being on the podcast and thank you for being in my life.
I am so happy to be here. This is fabulous. Discovering you and ordering my Wishbeads. I mean,
Gorgeous.
that is like the coolest thing. And it's so brilliant. I love finding people who are just doing something genius, you know, and as I read through the book and put my wish in there and you know, every morning with part of my routine, you know, tightening it and just wearing it, I know I'm going to accomplish what's in there. I know that this is manifesting, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's just the coolest thing because like you said about the community, how would I have known about you, right?
Yeah.
I met you because Teresa was talking about Wishbeads, and like the 4th time she said it, it took me 4 times, like everyone, right? I'm like, all right, I'll go check out this Wishbeads thing. And then I'm like, why didn't I do that earlier? Oh man, it's so cool. So I'm grateful.
You know, the other thing that I like about it is that you went and checked out Wishbeads and then you also asked for what you really wanted. So I debate, you know, I'm a pretty, lean one-woman show for the most part. I do have some people on my team, but you know, so when we talked about the collection, you know, how many styles were I going to offer a little bit larger, right? And so I have 3, but in the women's collection or the, you know, the smaller size, I have a lot more choices because when you're a business owner, you know, size is difficult and the collections and the investing in the inventory and stuff. But I love also the fact that you knew which stone you wanted. And then you later told me that you were colorblind. Oh, but you said because blue is something that you could
I see blue.
You see blue.
Do you see the blue around me?
I do. It's gorgeous. I love how you have divinely created your space. It's beautiful.
In colors that I can see. So being colorblind is really fun and fascinating and like no end of, you know, interest for me and for thankfully my husband who's like thinks it's cute. Basically my whole world is blue and yellow. Different shades of blue and yellow. And so that's very much like what's happening in my world, right? With a little pop of color, like, you know, right there's a little pop of color that changes or, you know, different things. But it's, so I just decided, in fact, the creation of this space, which is an office, it's the 2nd largest bedroom in our house. It was our kids' room and we turned it into the office. And creating this space with this wall and with everything is a manifestation of a dream. Right. And I think that is, and I'm like, I want it to be sumptuous. I want a mandala rug, right? Which I can't move the camera right now, but it's amazing. I want a desk that's all like curvy and shapely. I want beautiful bookshelves filled with curios and interesting stuff to display like palmistry, ephemera, and whatever, right? And I just want it to be in here. So not only do I love being in here, everyone in the family loves to just sit in this room, right? It's very fun.
Because it's filled with your love and your wishes and your creations. I think that's so cool.
That's right.
And you know, can I ask you about your journey, about seeing what you wanted, articulating it, going about the physical choices of searching to find the object and curios that would make you, you know, how you painted the wall? Because I feel like right now, especially after coming out of this year of likely some introspection And people want, kind of having that whisper of their soul that's like, you know what, I'm ready to transition from my day job or take a risk and go after that thing that I want to build for myself. And I would love to know your process, because obviously you did this before Wishbeads, and Wishbeads is
And
all
before
about,
COVID.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So tell me a little bit about your journey there, and then what has happened as a result to taking Wish and creating what you saw you wanted, owning that.
Yeah, I love that. So this is a great theme because it happens in ripples. It happens in waves. Like you talk a lot about your relationship with the waves as you go swimming in the morning. And it's so powerful for me when you talk about it, because to me, that is the vibration, right? The vibration of life exists in waves. Our sound, light, everything is like this. There's this big sort of like archetypal meaning behind the idea of a wave, right? We
Mm,
talk about the ripples, we talk about the cycles of the seasons, the cycles of humanity and of our life. Well, manifestation happens in cycles as well. And there's peaks and valleys of how manifestation happens. Anyone who runs a business knows that the chart that you put on the wall of like revenue or improvement or of progress, we want it to be up and to the right. And it doesn't happen that way. It's a
yeah.
jagged path or a wavy path that goes up and down and up and down and down and down and up and up and up and then down and up and up, and
Yep.
it
Yep.
climbs its way up, hopefully, right? And
Hmm.
you look at themes that way. And so that's just how the cycles of life work. So I want to preface with that. And then I want to say, it started when, like, I've been a palm reader for over 30 years, right? And it's been everything from a silly thing that I'm doing just as a parlor trick way back in the old days, to a side gig, a side hustle. Now it's just my side thing, to a slow transformation into, wait, what if this is my thing?
Yeah.
Right? I'm
Yeah.
even expanding beyond this. We could talk about that later, but so I entered a place where I allowed palmistry, this quote silly thing I do, to grow. I put it in a place where it's allowed to blossom and discover where it goes. There was a really interesting and pivotal moment 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, when I was sitting with my very good friend who also happens to be my business coach. And she said, what do we were working through a book together called Designing Your Life, which
Mm.
is one of the best classes that's offered at Stanford. It's one of the most popular Stanford classes. And the two professors that offer it are using design theory in creating a life that you love, right? And it's
Mhm.
it's brilliant. And I think everyone should read it, especially kids, right? And you can work through with a friend or with a group all the little exercises that are in there. And so we were doing that. And one of the things is, what's your dream life? Write it out. Journal, what's your dream day look like? And so we did that exercise, and it at first put my reality so far away from me that I thought I would almost give up.
Yeah.
And then I did an exercise where I did drawings and sketches and designs of my dream and what it would look like, and just sort of like a hand-drawn vision board, right? Which I think is
Cool.
really powerful to do. And symbols and whatever. And then I started looking at what was actually possible in manifesting in physical reality. Like, how could I make that happen tangibly? Where would money come from? What are revenues? And I started doing this. Suddenly it became clear to me, and I had this flip where I was like, this could be, like, this really is viable.
This could
It could
work.
really be a business. It could
Yeah.
really be a service, right? Boom. So that was one of the little peaks, right?
Beautiful.
And and then the next wave was build the business. And over the next few years, I've already been doing it for a long time, really getting out there and doing more and more. The business started to just build and build. And I'm on these waves of, transformation and achieving dreams. And I keep having to update my dream life because I keep achieving the
Yeah.
things that are on it.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm blowing my own mind. Right.
Yeah.
And I have to share this with you. One of my dreams is I wrote this dream life, this dream day, an ideal day. What is an ideal day? I wake up in the morning in a tropical location in a indoor outdoor open air like suite, right? And Richard is there, my husband's there with me, and it's early. And I get dressed in my linen, really beautiful linen shirt, and I put on my favorite mala beads and my wish beads now. And I get ready and I have a beautiful, healthy breakfast. I go for my morning walk and exercise. I get ready for my day, which is me presenting at a conference at this place we're living in this tropical location to a group of people who are just like, wow, this is amazing, with other folks who are presenting. And it's just like this. That is on my current like dream life. Right. And the reason that Alexa's laughing for everyone is because not randomly at all, synchronicity happened. And Alexa, and you could see it on one of her lives, was like, Jim, what if we did a thing in Hawaii and like did a presentation and a retreat or something? And I could not believe that you said that, because that's what that meant, is my dream life is potentially coming true, right?
Oh, it's so happening. And
it's an ideal day.
Oh no. And I'm already seeing it because I actually know where we're hosting it. So I'm like,
Right.
Oh yeah, check. Okay, beautiful. Yeah. I want you to know that on the breakfast buffet, we actually have beautiful edible flowers. Like
I knew, because it was dragon fruit and it was like all the tropical
all
fruit,
of it. Like
really healthy. Yeah.
Yes, it's all healthy. The food is all prepared for us. We have an amazing team who does it. And it's funny because I believe that our wishes are also signals that we send out to the people that are meant to catch them. Because essentially, I know we're doing this retreat. I already know it. The question is the timing because of COVID and other things. But we're going to do this retreat. And it's going to be actually so easy for you, because what happens is that the right people are going to come to you to say, oh, all you and your husband need to do is book the tickets. Like, here's exactly how this is going to work. I'm responsible for getting the people, organizing it, the staff, what we're doing, the retreat. This is how it's going to work. And And you're like, wait. It's that easy? And I'm here to say, yes, it's that easy. But then if you flip the table around, and then there's big wishes that I have that I want to do. And when I nourish them, when I plant those seeds and I give it water and attention and sunshine and love, encouragement, and I feed it with nutrients, that sends that signal through the ether to whoever needs to help me.
Yes, 100%.
So, and we're all doing that. It doesn't matter who you are and where you are. You are doing that for somebody else.
And then it comes together.
Comes together.
Here's the thing that was so like shocking for me. Now, Alexa couldn't see my face. You couldn't see my face when this happened because you're on an Instagram live.
Yeah.
And I'm just commenting. But my face, when you said that, I almost fell over, because I wrote that wish like a year ago.
Yeah. Wow.
I wrote that ideal life a year ago, right? If you have goosebumps listening to this right now, I do.
Yeah.
That is how that it's so powerful. It's like, this works, right?
He's holding up my book, Wishwork. It works. It super works.
Book, Wishwork, that came and of course your book, Wishwork, is a book that brings together and highlights a principle that exists, and it's just written in a really accessible and awesome way. But that principle exists regardless, and you can do the work to manifest your dreams. And so what was I doing? I was doing all the steps of
You were doing everything.
Writing my dream, holding it lightly, but also being a stand for it, right? One of the ways to mess up a wish, which is probably like, you're like, I don't want to talk about that. But one of the ways to mess up a wish that I've messed up my wishes is holding it too tightly, clutching. And so I call it a lust for results, right? I
Mm.
want a very specific thing and I have a lust for that result.
Yeah, I
And
want
that's
it.
all I'm focused on. And you know what happens? You're surrounding yourself with the word no when you do that.
Yeah.
Because when I do that, let me just talk
Yeah.
about how I've screwed it up. I want this very specific thing. I want the
Yeah.
red Porsche 911 S,
Yeah.
right? And I want it to have a tan leather interior. And if it's not that car and that thing, because it's going to make me feel awesome, then everything else is crap, right?
Yeah.
And so I've suddenly surrounded myself with no everywhere because the red Miata is suddenly a no, right? But it's
Right.
an awesome little car, right? The red Mercedes SLS whatever
Yeah.
500 is a no,
Yeah.
right? The red Audi A5 is a
Yep.
no,
Yeah.
right? The
Oh my
red,
gosh.
right? And so
Yeah.
suddenly, like, I'm not able to see the beauty and the yeses that are all around me, and that I'm holding that as an intention that I really want a red sports car. I really want like a convertible. I really want to feel this freedom and have this experience, right? Now
Yeah.
I'm using that as a silly and bougie example, but it really happened to me one time
Yeah.
where I envisioned a husband, a dog, a Volvo, and a house in a really nice neighborhood as a dream. And I realized that I had not achieved it, but that and the neighborhood in Seattle is called Madison Park, and it starts with an M, right? So, and I'm envisioning this. And one day I woke up and I realized, and I didn't hold it hard. I wasn't holding it really tightly. I was
Mhm.
open to like maybe one day. But I woke up one day and I realized, oh, wait, we have a house in Madrona, which is the neighborhood next to Madison Park,
Yeah.
also really nice with my husband, and we have cats instead of a dog, and we have the other Swedish car. Instead of a Volvo, we have a Saab. And it was like, they don't make Saabs anymore, but I was like, wow, I've actually achieved my dream.
Right.
How is this possible, right?
Right. You opened up to a wider. Well, I have to share with you. I never thought of that that way, but I want to share with you a little bit of a confession that I think is very similar. So when I started Wishbeads, I had a paper bead making kit. That was the first iteration of Wishbeads. And I ended up having a meeting in New York at the Condé Nast building with with the editor in chief of O Magazine.
Hmm.
And we met and she loved my idea. She walked it down to, where they're deciding about the Oprah's favorite things. And it was a paper bead making kit, mind you. It wasn't even jewelry. And I remember, and even and we had a great meeting, great connection. I went down to the lobby, and when I went to the commissary area, I got a little something to eat and a drink, and the receipt said 11.11. It was $11.11. And I was like, well, if that's not a sign from the universe, I don't know what is. Okay.
Wow.
So I was like, oh my God, I'm on the Oprah train. Like it is so happening. But the interesting thing that when the woman got back to me, the editor in chief, she said, who someone you should really connect with is Glennon Doyle. And at the time, Glennon Doyle is a huge personality at the time, and she had just finished a big book tour or something. So I was kind of catching her kind of after the fact. But for whatever reason in that moment, not only did a big Oprah connection not happen at the time, but like I didn't in my mind, I wasn't like Glennon Doyle, great. In the moment, I remember thinking, well, Glennon Doyle isn't who I want. I wanted Oprah. And I look back and I think, Alexa, Glennon Doyle would have accepted an introduction from the editor in chief of O Magazine. But at the time, I missed it, right? Now, in hindsight's always 2020, but I
Right.
also have the belief that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So once again, fast forward, I now have the bracelet collection. I know the people that do Oprah's favorite things, and I have been in. I was in consideration, official consideration, a few times. But I'm back visiting another editor in chief of a magazine that's in that building, and I'm at the commissary area post meeting, and who do I see? Gail King. So Gail is all dressed up in this gorgeous, like purple dress. I see her from across the way. She's unmistakable in her stature. So I'm like, I'm giving Gail Wishbeads. So I walk up to her and I introduce myself to her and I tell her about Wishbeads. And she's like, oh, these are so cool. Thank you. And I give her Wishbeads and my book because I had some extras. And I left it at that. That didn't hear back. You know, my PR people, they all followed up with Gail. Gail's getting a lot of messages. Okay. So time goes on. Again, we're still planting seeds. Time goes on, and it turns out that there is a show on the Oprah Winfrey Network, and my bracelets were featured as part of this show. Okay. This is also cool. Great. So I watched the program, and, you know, they sort of, it's like mentioned very quickly. And, you know, I sort of have that moment. I'm like, well, now I can say my stuff has been on an Oprah Winfrey Network show. Great. Fast forward to yesterday. No. You got that big like Oprah face. It's coming. I'll be friends with Oprah at some point. But here's where the point is, you never know. So yesterday, now at the time of this recording, obviously Christmas is it's on Friday, and we're dealing now with the shipments that got lost, the things that went wrong, you know, blah 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 blah. And sometimes the emails are nice, and sometimes the emails are not nice.
Yeah.
So I got an email that I would say was neutral. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't particularly nice. And there was a mix up. A woman had paid a little extra to have me alter a bracelet. And people don't know the craziness that is happening in trying to get all these shipments out, because everyone wants them yesterday. People forget there's a pandemic. People forget that vaccines are going in the mail, you know, being, you know, transported by FedEx and everybody. People have no idea. So they just want their stuff. And I understand that. But when I altered a bracelet, I put it in its packaging, and then I must have accidentally sent the same style to this woman. So when she opened it up, it wasn't adjusted, and she was mad. Somebody else got a larger bracelet who didn't mean to and was like, why is this bracelet so big? I'll deal with that later when they open it up on Christmas. But anyway, so, you know, so the email felt a little bit terse, and I decided I could write her back or I could give her a call. And so I called her. I usually, and the people can't believe that, like, you know, the main person is like calling them.
The CEO calls you.
Yeah, just because like the CEO is like, I have no full-time employees. It's me. So I call her, and it turns out she said, I love your product and I believe in it. And I saw it first on an Oprah Winfrey Network show. And then she said, and then I saw Reverend such and such talk about his Wishbeads. And I'm like, what Reverend? I don't know. I have to go back and ask her who. And she said, and it's really, I believe in it. I've had the hardest year. My cousin died 2 days ago of COVID. And we end up having this beautiful connection conversation. And it just made me realize that your dreams, as you're talking to, you know, that whole like Oprah effect or whatever, sometimes we can't control so tightly the timeline. I may connect with her. I may never connect with her. And it doesn't matter, because somehow in that path, the trust that the right people will find you in the right moment is more important than anything.
That's right. You're not holding on to being on Oprah's favorite things tightly. You don't have that lust for results. It doesn't mean you're not working towards that, because we kind of see that as a penultimate sort of achievement, certainly, right?
Yeah.
I'm still working towards my dream car or house or whatever, of course. At the same time, we can't like watch the lessons for me and for you are, when we are holding that vision so tightly, we end up surrounding ourselves with no, because the only yes that is allowed is the one tightly controlled, specific thing that I want, right?
Yeah.
And that is a fabulous and important lesson. It's an important realization that holding it loosely allows me to see what I've already created. Wow.
Yes.
My 1982 Honda Civic is actually a manifestation of a dream, right? It's actually like, wow, what that represents is I'm not spending money on a car payment and I'm able to invest in something else, or whatever it means for you, right?
Yeah.
Or gosh, I was able to get a brand new car that is, you know, my brand new Mazda, which is wonderful. You know, whatever those things are, you start to open yourself up to yes. It's not just physical things either. And I don't want to just stay so shallow. It's also the emotional, you start to realize I have
Yeah.
love all around me.
Mm-hmm.
I have prosperity all around me. I have blessings all around me
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not Xing them out for a
Right.
specific thing.
Well, and I also wanted to talk to a little bit and share about what I have learned from you, because I have worked with other, I mean, I've had my palms read. My dear friend Lisa Greenfield, I don't know if you know her. She has
Hmm,
her website is called Truth in Hand. So I
that's cool.
Yeah, so she's Truth in Hand, and she's a lovely person. She's amazing. So I love her. And then I had a read, so I was aware of, like, the insights that are in the palms of our hands. But when we did our reading together, also am learning in this year, one of the things I'm grateful for is that you can gain insights. So you can kind of soften your awareness and gain information that you don't realize is in your own habits, behaviors, and almost your markings. You're right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that it's all fatalistic. It's like all destined to happen and all that. I think there's a lot of myths that come with reading of palms. And I'm sure that you have dealt with this with other clients and sort of the concept of palm reading. But what I like is that you bring a sense of curiosity to, like, wow, just from your behavior, I can tell about this tendency or that tendency. And when
Yes.
you as the recipient of that information get to be empowered of, oh, now I have a choice.
Yes.
I can
So,
see my tendency to, like,
right.
lead or be held or whatever the thing is. But when you shared all these insights about myself just based on the pictures of my hands, I was like, what kind of alchemy is this?
Right. So when you get a palm reading, normally when you get a palm reading from, let me say, if you get a palm reading from like most sort of people on the street, right? Let's say you're down at like the pier and there's someone doing palmistry at a table, or you're in New Orleans and you get a palm reading in, the square or whatever. A lot of times palmistry is set up to be very fatalistic. And so what that means is you have a long lifeline. That means you have a long life. It's also very literal, right?
Mm,
Short lifeline is short life. And that's the thing that people are most terrified of, right? So my whole thing is I am here to save palmistry from the misfortune tellers, right? And rescuing this amazing art of understanding ourselves, our unconscious, our hidden motivations, our secret desires. They're only secret because they're not always in our conscious mind, but they
right.
express themselves through our unconscious gestures and movements of our hands. Those unconscious gestures and movements of your hands over time create lines and creases, calluses and features on the hand that a person can read. So what I'm reading in your hand is your latent unconscious psychology being expressed through your body language, being expressed through your gesture, and being expressed in the patterns and features that are on your palm. It is People think that
Fascinating.
it's, yeah, people think it's super woo and like, and I don't want to know when I'm going to die. I don't want to know how many kids I'm going to have. Like, people still ask that because it's the common perception of palmistry, right? Which in some ways the word palmistry does a disservice to what I think I'm actually doing, which is more like soul illumination or
Yeah.
or unconscious revelations, or and so we're using psychology, which is it's known as kinesics, right?
Mhm.
It's a social psychology or anthropology um, uh, um, modality to look at how people use their body, how they move their physical body. And then I'm blending that with traditional palmistry and sort of the metaphysical meanings and archetypes that are on the hand. And then I do have the intuitive gift. And so
Mhm.
I will bring some psychic information if it shows up. But it always works psychologically as well. So there's always a psychological aspect that is, without so far, without fail, mind-blowing to anyone who's open to these messages. I mean, it's mind-blowing to me because I don't know
Amazing.
you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just read your hands, Alexa, and I don't know you. And
I
here
mean,
I'm
in
finding,
fact, when you saw pictures of my hands, you and I had never spoken to each other.
nope,
So I just
nope.
sent you pictures and I'm like, okay, like, here's how you book. And it was only because Teresa was like, I booked my reading. And I'm like, well, I'm doing what you do. So
Yeah,
I'm going to do that too.
Teresa's reading was, your reading was amazing. Everyone like, and discovering, and so what happens is, and you can validate this or tell me what you got out of it, but I think most of the time people receive insight. I think they receive clarity about themselves and about maybe their
Mm.
path forward. I think they get inspired. I think it's very inspirational. It is not
Mhm.
a reading that leaves you feeling like bad about yourself. It's a reading that has you feel empowered and encouraged.
And that's so clearly your intention in
Yeah.
the work that you do and how you show up. I mean, you would never, I would like in the same way if someone shared their wish, I wouldn't be like, well, that's not going to happen. Yeah.
Can you imagine? No.
Or, that phrase of like, watch what you wish for. Like, that's
Good
not,
luck.
that's
That must
not.
be the bane of existence for, like, yeah, someone once told me, like, don't quit your day job, right? I'm like, okay, you're just going to be a more distant friend.
Yeah. Now,
Um,
yeah, boundaries.
yeah, be careful what you wish for. I think that has, if used in the right way, that admonishment can be really helpful. But so often it's an expression of disbelief,
Oh,
right?
completely, because you can be intentional about what you wish for.
Yeah,
Jan Spiller does a beautiful job outlining very clearly about the power of wording your wishes in new moon astrology, because you can also say, like, if someone says, I want to win the lottery. Well, okay, you can win the lottery, but I want to win the lottery and have it feel like I have never ending abundance and support and clarity with my money.
right.
Like that is a different worded wish, because
Yeah,
many people anecdotally, when they win the lottery, it brings jealousy and mismanagement. They'll end up
and
worse 2
destruction.
years later and
Yeah.
destruction and chaos into their lives.
Yeah,
So
anyone who wants to win the lottery and is yearning for that, just look at the statistics on lottery winners and you'll realize that I've realized that I'm wishing for a curse,
yeah, well,
right?
I think that you can go deeper with the whole idea of lottery. Like if you would like financial abundance, and
Yeah,
let
wish
it
for that.
feel easy for you,
Yes.
great. And I
Easy
also
financial
think,
abundance. Let's
yes,
wish for
easy
that.
financial abundance. And I don't know if I just watched the Bee Gees documentary called How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? It's so good. Oh my God. But I think about the journey that they had. And I think about, especially young people. So I'm in Los Angeles. So I've worked with a lot of young, and I was an actress, a former actress. And so I worked with a lot of young people, and you see that when young people hit that fame, they do not have the capacity to deal with it. So whether it's Zac Efron, or I don't know what's going on with poor Billie Eilish. I mean, I don't know if there's anything wrong with her, but I know that it's a lot of energy to
Right.
handle.
Yeah.
Andy Gibb died young. This idea that they just can't physically handle it,
Right.
which means that there's so much grace in a slow, gradual
Yes.
building of confidence, building of a foundation, letting it come. Like I'm 48 and I know that all of my years and years, it's going to feel so different
Right.
than had my fame or success come in my 20s.
Right.
So
That's right. I'm so thankful to have the life experience that I've had so far and to be finding a breakthrough now
yeah,
in, my late 40s like you is one of the best blessings ever.
yeah,
And yeah, it's like that's also being, I think that's the role of gratitude, right?
yeah,
And manifestation is so connected to gratitude. It's so somehow
yes.
like connected to this like honoring and gratitude for what is and for what I have. I think about that with love, like when I give people readings about love, right? And about creating the love that they want in their life. And that is such I've gone through so many realizations about that, right? Which is
Mm,
I I am in love. I am committed to love my spouse for everything he is and everything he isn't. Both.
mm.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't have an expectation for him to be anything other than exactly who he is, and to be
Yeah.
aware of that. I
Yeah.
So often we are invested in an idealized version of our partner.
Mm.
Like, oh, and because we have this gift, some of us have more than others, have this gift of seeing the best and highest good of another person. Well, that's a fabulous gift. And we also want to watch being attached to
Yeah.
that vision of that person, and being maybe mistakenly, like I was, in love with this idealized version of who this person is,
Yeah.
rather than who they really actually are, and
Yeah.
everything that they're not. And
Yeah.
being present with that is a big sort of lesson, not just about love, I guess it's about everything.
Yeah.
That's a really powerful thing to do. And it's like powerfully choosing the life you have, the partner you have, powerfully choosing the ways in which you have vibrated and manifested the life you have, so
Mm.
that you can say, you know what, I want a blue wall with gold stars,
Yeah.
and I want that to be like my background for when I
Yeah.
am, doing readings and meeting with people, because it's sumptuous and it expresses me and it's colors
Yeah.
like, and so that's sort of like coming back around to this, like manifesting something, because
Yeah.
I'm in awareness of where I'm at and what's possible.
Yeah. And also what you achieved. And also, quite simply, it makes you happy. And if you're happy, that energy is contagious. And
Oh
so
my
that
gosh, yes.
happiness spreads through the lens, and because now we're all quite trained to do, you can certainly do your work virtually, which gives you tons of time, freedom, and flexibility.
Yeah.
And I think that when people can not be intimidated by the ownership of your wishes, it is up to you. Instead of thinking, I can't, or I need someone else to make my wish come true, both of those, you came into this planet alone. You are going to leave this earth alone.
Right. Yeah.
Your experiences, your life is a collection of your choices, and which means that you always have the ability to change and grow and expand. And I think you talk about the energy of gratitude and love. All of those feelings, those positive feelings, keep us soft and keep us open. And I remember, I mean, I just think it's so cool, your take on palmistry. And I know you're working on a book, and I can't wait to buy that book. Can't wait. And one thing that I realized that I was intending in 2021 and beyond is that I know I have a tendency to like intensely work. Like I have a vision, and then I also have that ability to kind of like drill down and make it happen and bring it to fruition. However, like I love my laugh lines because of my smile lines, badge of honor. I'm in
Yeah.
the land of Botox, baby. I don't do Botox. So I see that like those lines, awesome, love it. Smiling, great. But this line is the line of a furrowed brow. And so, the lines that I have between my eyes. And so I don't look at that and think, oh, Alexa, you look so old. Oh, you got to get Botox. What I look at that and I say, wow, I am thinking too hard. I am efforting too much. I need to relax and soften. Like that's the sort of, and I love that you can go deeper with your hands and with the body language of your hands. It's
Yes.
fascinating.
Yes. So here's another aspect of it. So not only can I see what is happening in your hands based on your body language and what's there, you can manifest and use your hand gesture very similar to the way that you're using wish beads. And this is why this is such a synergistic conversation, because your hands, we use our hands to gesture all the time.
Yeah.
For instance, if you're going to direct me to the corner market to go and pick up some, a quart of milk or whatever, you are going to use your index finger to sort of direct me how to get there, right?
Right.
So the index finger becomes this powerful symbol of direction, of opening possibilities, of expansion, of leadership, of
Yeah.
power. Well, it's related to Jupiter in the metaphysical, which is that same energy, right, of the planet Jupiter and of the archetype Jupiter.
Mm.
So because of why I'm going into this detail is because When we use our pointer finger, it activates something neurobiologically in our brain because we've been socialized around the use of the index finger and what it means.
Mm.
So now you can, and this is true of all the fingers and all the gestures. So now we can powerfully create modern mudras, I call them, which is a hand gesture or a sigil or a sign with your hands that create an energy, a vibration around you. It's not just metaphysical. It's not just woo. It is also biofeedback to your brain, right? I know.
Wow.
And so here's one for all the listeners and viewers. If you're feeling like I'm not motivated, I need to get up out of this couch and do something. Your thumb is in. Your thumb is positioned close to your hand or is curled and relaxed in towards your hand. That's the natural state of sleep and inaction. The thumb represents our willingness, our proclivity to take action. All you need to do is open that thumb at a 90-degree angle. Open your thumbs out and hold that position. You can do a little intention like get my butt off out of this couch, but just hold that thumbs out at a 90-degree angle and you'll start to feel a little bit restless. You're feeling a little restless now as Alexa's doing it, right? It's creating biofeedback to your brain that says, I'm ready to catch the ball. I'm ready to do something. I'm ready to swim. I'm ready to take on something, grip something, grab something. And that's the act. Suddenly, you're going to get up out of the chair and you're going to do something.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Yes, so I designed the modern mudras for everybody, and like people can book a session with me, and like, what is it that you want to manifest in your life? I can help you with the mudra for that. On my Instagram.
Is that going to be part of your book? Is that your book?
I think that's in a second book, but it will be briefly summarized in my current book.
Yeah.
The book so my Oprah's Favorite Things book goal is the book for every person that helps us understand ourselves through our hand gesture and by creating intentional hand gesture that we can manifest in the world, right? And so
I love that.
This is all part of the work and the tapestry that I'm weaving at the moment. So, but I do these on social media. I'll post about every week a different mudra based on the astrology that's happening and connecting that to how I can live and utilize the astrological aspects with my hands.
It's so cool.
It's really fun. And I test them all myself. Like I'm going to test it and see like, does that help me with alignment to do this? Like, is that, is this helping? So, or whatever the intention is. So it's really a gratifying work.
So beautiful. Well, you can definitely follow Jim's work at Divine Hand Jim, and your website. I always mess this up because I say,
yeah, my website is thedivinehand.com.
Yes.
DIVINE. You can also search, I'm in Seattle, if that matters. You can search for Seattle Palm Reader and I'm #1 on Google if that's easier.
Nice. Fantastic.
And on social media, on Instagram, I'm Divine Hand Jim.
Divine Hand Jim. Beautiful. And of course, all of Jim's links are going to be in our show notes and a little description about him and his work. I highly recommend booking a session. I am a big fan. And when we announce our Hawaii retreat, you will be the first to know. So make sure to sign up on my newsletter at wishbeads.com when we make that announcement. I'm pretty sure it will sell out pretty much in a hot minute. But it's going to be pretty fantastic. And I'm so excited. I know it's going to happen because I see it. I see it. I can picture it perfectly. I can already imagine how cool your session is going to be. We'll do it out on the lanai. It's going to be so great and so much fun. And I think that's that whole idea of like creating what you crave. It's like, I would want to be at that retreat so badly. So, and I've already been imagining, what kinds of things that we're going to do. There's going to be a lot of swimming in the ocean with the turtles.
Awesome. Nothing better than swimming.
So good. Yeah. So we're going to have a great time, but thank you so much, Jim, for your time. I'm so happy to have you in my life. And
this has been fabulous. Thank you.
And we can, we can check in a little while and see, how your wishes are going and all that good stuff. Awesome. We'll do a follow-up podcast live from Hawaii.
That sounds perfect.
Your linen shirt. All right, my friend, be well. And thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.